To another great show with Sean on boxing. So this weekend we're back. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about this weekend. We got some big cards: Friday card, all female card, and then of course the big card from Saudi Arabia. Some controversy around that fight, but I'm not too intrigued by the controversy because the usual suspects always need to find some racial narrative to push. They can't just be happy we're getting boxing. They got to be outraged. They got to be disgusted. They got to be fucking on their soapboxes preaching. They got to be pointing fingers. They got to be crying about something. But we're a boxing channel, so we're going to talk about boxing. So let's get back after this short break. Welcome back. So, as I said, some big boxing to talk about this weekend. We have what is easily the best female boxing card in history. Believe it or not. I mean, I know that's probably not something anyone ever aspired to say or ever dreamt of saying, but it's true. It's real. It's here. We also have a great card from Saudi Arabia. Another great card put together by Turki Al Sheikh in New York City. And this time, I think at the Joe Louis Arena or Joe Louis Stadium. I'm not even sure where that is, but obviously it's going to be a better venue than last time at Times Square. Should work out to be far better. Should have more fans, more feeling, more of a crowd. It should just be a better overall show. Let's hope so. But let's jump in, check it out, and talk about what's going on this week in boxing. I gotta love this image. 1 week to go, DAZN, July 12th. I mean, this is a great card overall. There's not much reason as a boxing fan to be disappointed, unless you're specifically trying to find some reason to fucking moan, groan, and cry. Out of that, this card is excellent. What's not to like? You got some great matchups, some real intriguing matchups, and some tough 50-50 fights. So overall, it's exactly what boxing fans have been asking for and are getting. We'll talk about this and more, obviously, on Friday. This is the card that is potentially going to grab your attention. Part of MVP Promotions, Jake Paul. People can be critical of Jake Paul, of course they can. But when you talk about what he's doing as a promoter, specifically for women's boxing, he deserves a shout out. Not that I'm the biggest supporter of women's boxing. You'd have to go to Ring IQ to get more of that. But when you look at a card like this and you know anything about boxing at all, you have to be impressed. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7 fights that are all really great, really top level matchups. And then, of course, you have the headlining fight, Katie Taylor versus Serrano 3. And I mean, Jesus Christ, people. I don't watch much boxing, but when I do watch boxing, it's Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, women's boxing. And the first 2 fights have not disappointed. You may have been disappointed if you were a Serrano fan and you were pushing for her to win and you were disappointed that she didn't get the decision. That's fine. I get that. But as far as the fight, man, that shit was perfect. Quality. Pound for pound king, what's up, my brother? Says he'll be back in a few minutes. We'll see you then. Jump on in. But let's look at this card. Obviously, this is another one of those great fight cards that's being on Netflix. I mean, who should be on this card but isn't? Because of herself, right? And of course, that is the quote, right? Clarissa Shields. Ask yourself why Clarissa Shields isn't on the greatest women's boxing card of all time. It's because she is too egocentric, too much of an egomaniac, and actually kept herself off of this card. Because you know she would have been on the card otherwise. And it's disappointing because she should be on this card. But unfortunately for her, she can't fucking accept that people are more loved than she is. She also can't accept working with a promoter who's doing great things for female boxing, right? Nobody's going to watch her fight. I don't even know what day it is, but it's coming on soon. But I can guarantee you, fuck, I won't even know it's happening because it's some bullshit card that no one cares about. Even if you don't like women's boxing, This card is huge. And I guarantee a shitload of people are going to watch it because it's going to be free on fucking Netflix. Even I'm going to watch it because it's free on fucking Netflix. How do I not watch it? I'm just chilling, kicking back on a Saturday morning, and this shit's on TV. Shit. On Netflix, I can watch my big screen TV, go live, and talk boxing with you. I mean, boxing is boxing. So, of course, I'll be there. I'll be square. I'll be chopping it up. Stringer from above says, I thought Taylor won both fights. Me too, but obviously both very competitive. Drunk Irishman's in the house. Salute, my friend. But when you look at this card, I mean, this shit's dynamite. Another New York based card, right? This time, you got Katie Taylor versus Serrano, the headline, part three. I kind of hope Serrano wins just to, make that trilogy that much more interesting. But at the same time, I wouldn't be upset to see Katie Taylor win and get her third fight out of the trilogy and basically retire at that point because really, what else does she need to prove? She is the GOAT, and that's undeniable. There's no female boxer in the history of the sport who's done more for female boxing than Katie Taylor. She's the one that allowed women's boxing into the Olympics. She's the one who's been dominating. No fucking women's resume is anything like hers. It's fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. Then you have Ellie Scottney fighting Machado. Should be a great fight. My favorite sexy girl, Alicia Baumgardner, is back there against Jennifer Miranda. Savannah Marshall. This is the woman that fucking Clarissa Shields should have been fighting in a rematch, right? On such a card. She's fighting Shadze Green, which is a great matchup. Trinica Johnson is in there with Metcalf. Chantel Cameron is fighting Jessica Camara. And Ramala Ali is fighting Lila Furtado. The Tam Taboo girl, I guess she must be from Canada with that name. She definitely sounds French-Canadian to me. But she's also on the card as well. I don't know who she is. She's the one person that I'm unfamiliar with. Nice welcome back. I was just listening last live that I missed. What's up, Hard Recoil? Welcome in. Yeah, and as I say, you don't need to be a women's boxing fan to be fucking overwhelmed by the quality on this card. And what makes this even better is Katie Taylor and Serrano are getting paid $10 million fucking each, right? They're getting paid more money than 95% of male boxers. And primarily that's because of Jake Paul, right? As far as these matchups, this shit's dynamite. Dynamite. And as I say, generally I'm not a big advocate for women's boxing, but I'm an advocate for boxing. So I need to talk about this. I need to give it praise. And as I said, I wish Clarissa Shields was on this card. She should be on this card. But let's be honest. The only reason she's not on this card is because of her. Ega fucking maniac, right? That's keeping her fucking career low level. Only the fucking usual suspects even give a shit about what she's doing in her career because she ain't doing shit. She's fighting literally bum-ass opponents in a division that has no fucking opponents available. Drunk Irishman says Serrano Shields might be more accomplished, but just look at the names Taylor has beaten. Nothing but Hall of Fame after Hall of Fame fighters, and a lot of their names have aged like fine wine. I don't know how Serrano and Shields have accomplished more. I mean, they've accomplished a lot, but I mean, the majority of Shields' fucking titles have been vacant titles. She did not even beat someone to win those titles. So how much can you really praise her for fucking winning vacant titles in female boxing? Those titles were sitting there. Nobody wanted to fight for them because nobody could afford to pay fucking their sanctioning fees, right? So that's why she got those belts. Not that she beat someone, not that there was people there for her to take the titles from. Taylor literally beat fucking champion after champion after champion. Her fucking trilogy fight with Serrano is the greatest fucking women's boxing thing in female boxing history. Like, those two women are always going to be remembered. Thanks very much to this trilogy. Whereas Clarissa Shields, I don't know. Outside of her one fight with Chantel Cameron and maybe one or two other fights, who even gives a fuck about what she's done in her career? Becoming undisputed in divisions where there's nobody to fight? who gives a shit? I mean, it's one thing to become undisputed in men's boxing. It's another thing being like Taylor, who became, undisputed in packed fucking divisions with really good quality opposition. Unfortunately for Shields, she's in a division that just has no competition. And the potential biggest competition she could have fought, obviously, is these two females, right? Marshall and Green, right? Fight the winner of that. That would be a huge fight. That would probably be the biggest fight of her career. Uh, in a full female card, a good idea. Yeah, we'll see what kind of numbers it does. But, the irony is Shields basically took away all credit from Serrano Taylor 2 and gave it to Jake Paul because they were the underline fight on the headline. But in this one, there's none of that. They are headlining. And we'll see if any fight that fucking Shields has ever done comes even close to the numbers this is going to put out. Because I guarantee you it won't. Well, let's move forward because there's a lot more to talk about. But here it is right there. Taylor Serrano, undisputed super lightweight champion, Madison Square Gardens, live on Netflix, Friday, July 11th. 6 championship fights. I knew that fucking Thibault girl was from Canada. That name is just Canadian, like apple pie is American. But let's move forward. So then, of course, you have this card on the Sunday, your time, my time, Saturday, your time, July 12th, New York City, where the girls are pretty. Berlanga, Shiraz, Stevenson, Zepeda, Puelo, Matias, Morel versus Katiev. I mean, this is a good card. Like, if this was the only fight card to pay attention to this weekend, I'd be stoked. I'd be super excited. This is exactly what I want. This is all I look forward to every week. A fight card resembling this. This shit is dynamite. Dynamite. There we are. Louis Armstrong Stadium. I don't know why I thought it was Joe Louis. Louis Armstrong. Queens, New York. Oscar De La Hoya Promotions, obviously in conjunction with, Saudi Arabia. Also, what's great on this card, we also have my man Ryato Tatsumi is fighting the Japanese Lomachenko. This is his second professional fight. Obviously, he fought on that first New York City Times Square fight card, and because of how those fights unfolded, his fight was kind of ignored, dismissed, and not really paid attention to, even though he was in with a real solid opponent. And that fight between the two of them was easily the best fight of the night, right? You had two quality fighters, both with skills, matched up very well. In his first professional fight, he was match made really well. When we check this shit out, this shit's dynamite. Shakur Stevenson versus Zepeda. This fight we've been asking for a long time. Obviously, based on Zepeda's struggles with Farmer, the fight's not as hot as it once was. But that means that people think Shakur should be more dominant in this fight. And Shakur needs some dominance, right? The fact he's not headlining this card is because he's not fucking been dominant. He's been disappointing. The last solid dominating performance you saw him was against a domestic UK fighter. A solid fighter, but a domestic UK fighter, right? Obviously, as a replacement opponent. Now, when we think about what Floyd Schofield did to Tevin Farmer, the fight between Shakur and him looks like it would have been that much better. It's a shame that he pulled out of that fight. Not Shakur's fault. It is what it is. Shakur did what he had to do. He took the fight. He gave the young fighter the opportunity to step up and make a name for himself. Now he's fighting Zepeda. Obviously, the question is, can Zepeda pressure him, keep his punch volume high, and force Shakur to fucking fight him, right? We know that usually counterpunchers struggle against volume fighters. But if you get punched in the face a couple of times, it's amazing how your volume comes down. So the question is Zepeda going to be able to keep that pressure on? Zepeda, for his own point, right, he's been doing everything he needed to do to prepare. I think he's had 6 southpaws or 6 southpaw fights before this fight. So he's going to be very dialed into fighting a southpaw, right? He's going to be very comfortable. It's not like he's a guy that isn't used to fighting a southpaw. Obviously, he's not used to fighting Shakur, but you do what you can do. Harder Coral says, I'm looking forward to this event, but I will need to be awake all night again. Yeah, that's the problem with those all night cards. Sean, what's going on, bro? What's up, Michelle? Uh, Overall, I got Shakur winning this fight, as I think most people do. Most people feel that Shakur has enough skill set to win by unanimous decision. Is he going to be able to do something impressive? Right? Kind of like Schofield just did against Farmer, right? That was unexpected, sensational, explosive, dominating. If Shakur can do something like that, that's going to grab people's fucking attention. And that's what he needs, because you're only as good as your last fight. Then, of course, we've got Puello versus Matias. Stylistically, kind of similar. Matias is an aggressive, come forward fighter with heavy power. Puello, long, awkward boxer, mover, right? This fight aesthetically could be like the Shakur fight. Both of these fights very easily could disappoint, could turn into two very hard to watch, slow, defense kind of boring fights. But if Matias can pressure more and make Puello work harder, do better than Gary Russell did, potentially maybe he'll be the first man to fucking get rid of Puello. Here's hoping, because for me, I prefer an aggressive puncher. So I would love to see Matias beat Puello and then see what kind of potential unification fights we could get down the road. Potentially a Gary Russell versus a Matias. Shit, sign me up. A Teofimo Lopez versus a Matias. Sign me up. Right? Those fights would be fucking great, exciting, sensational. How good is Kadiev, Sean? I think that is the question, right? He's right now a guy that had a good amateur pedigree. He's been fighting solid, up and coming opponents, but now you're really taking a step up, right? And the question is he going to be prepared for this level? We have to wait and see, because it could go very good or very bad for him. It could be very similar to that Kazakhstan fighter who was similar to him, who fought Morrell and almost fucking got killed in the ring, right? Easily, it could turn out to be that. So I would not be shocked or surprised one way or the other. Drunk Irishman says, Shakur 9-3, easy UD fight for Shakur. Let's hope main fighters don't disappoint us. Turkey said he's not surprised. He's got a surprise for Shakur. Well, what's the surprise? Small ring? I mean, I don't know. Light gloves? We will see. And then, of course, as just mentioned, we got the Morrell versus Katiev fight. Similar. Morrell, he tends to be more of a boxer puncher, but he could be defensive if he wanted to. Cuban style of boxer, right? We haven't seen him fight that way, which is great. I wouldn't want to see him fight that way. I like the way he fights now. He's much more of an aggressive fighter. Katiev, also an aggressive fighter. So this fight on paper should deliver, should be fantastic. The question is Katiev, a guy who had a very good amateur pedigree, prepared for a guy at Morrell's level? I mean, Morrell, sure, he just got beat by David Benavidez, but in a very big fight, obviously a career-defining fight, this is the kind of fight he can really learn from and be way better. Katiev has never faced anyone near that level. So I would not be surprised to see Morrell go in there and dominate and stop Katiev inside 6 or 7 rounds. And that would be a huge statement win for Morrell, especially coming off of a loss. For Katiev, what he needs to do is have good defense, deflect and block a lot of those power shots, work that body, throw straight shots, and just try to break down Morrell and potentially, hopefully, stop him late. Then, of course, we have Muhammad Alakel, a guy we saw fight on one of those other Turkey Al-Sheikh cards. He fought pretty well for a guy that people were unfamiliar with, young, up-and-coming Saudi fighter. Obviously, it's good that you have big money behind you. Now he's getting to fight outside of Saudi in America. Must be a dream come true for him, obviously being on a card of this magnitude. And then you got Ryota Tatsumi. If you guys don't know, Hiato Tatsumi, his brother, is one of the best fighters currently at 130. Ryota is the fighter that people feel is better. he was the better amateur, and people expect him to be the better pro. Maybe he won't be, but I mean, that's expectation for him. Expectations are pretty high. That's why he was signed by Turkey and Ring Magazine right out of the fucking gate, and why every single fight of his is in the U.S., right? Which is unusual for up and coming Japanese fighters. Generally, you would build them up in Japan, but because he's such a big name already in Japan, they figure they might as well build him up outside of Japan and kind of give him that leg up where right out of the gate his name becomes really relevant globally, not just domestically, because we know domestically he's already well known. And this guy's a good kid. He's very friendly, easy to talk to, approachable. Not that I talk to him, but I mean, obviously on social media, I've chit chatted to him. Yeah. So it's nice that he's trying to use English to reach out to, like, obviously non-Japanese fans, uh, especially right out of the gate. But I remember watching him in the junior World Games, and he was the most impressive fighter in that whole tournament. The guy was unbelievable. What are we? Turkey said he will have a special ring for the Shakur Zapata fight. The ring will shrink in size every round. I don't believe it. I think he's just joking around. That would be fucking the biggest gimmick in boxing fucking history. Can you imagine? Dunk, 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 dunk. I like it. I like it because I mean, talk about fucking interesting. But yeah, obviously, the usual suspects would fucking be super angry about that. What are your favorite top five fighters of the 2010s? Oh my God, 2010s. Let's stay on topic. I'll think about it while we're talking about fight cards this weekend. Cepeda was amazing output, but lacks the power to really bother a pure boxer like Shakur. Will Patrick Brown be successful, or will he get exposed when he fights better opponents? Well, yeah, he could easily be exposed because right now, I mean, he's a domestic UK fighter, right? Fighting, you know, build up opponents and obviously trying to build up his name and build up his resume. He's looked great, but yeah, I would say at this point it's kind of premature to have big expectations for him. At this point, I don't know if he's Moses Atama, but he looked good when I watched him fight. I was pleasantly surprised by his size and skill set, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a great fighter. But if people haven't seen Patrick Brown, they should check him out. A good up and coming young UK fighter. Looks good. Looks good. But, who knows how good. And then, of course, the fight that's going to be headlining this event, Hamza Shiraz, coming off of his draw against Edgar Berlanga. Um, I think people are funny. They're giving this fight a lot of hate, but the reality is, why the hate? Berlanga is obviously a huge name because he fought Canelo fucking Alvarez. Shiraz is a big name in the UK. So you got two fighters with name recognition, fan bases. Obviously, one New York, Puerto Rican fan base, one UK fan base. It's a big fight, right? And stylistically, it should be a exciting fight. Two big punchers, obviously both a little limited skill wise. So it should turn out to be a good fight, a real war. That's hilarious. It sounds like version of Squid Games. It does sound like Squid Games, exactly. Yeah, the ring getting smaller every round. 1 foot comes off. Starts at 15 foot, so then by round 12, it's going to be what, 3 foot by 3 foot. I'm actually pretty excited for Berlanga Shiraz. I think it's going to be a great fight. I don't hate Berlanga. I mean, he's a loudmouth, but all these American-based fucking young kids are all loudmouths, so he's not different than any of them. Um, does he look unbeatable? No, of course not. But which fighter in boxing today looks unbeatable? Only like a handful of fighters are guys that look that good. But in a division like this, the 168-pound division, a lot of money and a lot of potential good opponents to fight. I think the Shiraz Berlanga fight looks great. I would not want to see Berlanga try to get a Canelo Alvarez 2 fight because there's other opponents at 168 I'd prefer to see Berlanga fight if he beats Shiraz. Do I want to see Shiraz fight Canelo? Not really. I prefer to see Canelo fight Benavidez or Bivol, right, as opposed to fucking Shiraz. I mean, there's better fighters at 168 I prefer to see him in with, like Pacheco. I think Pacheco beats both Berlanga and Shiraz. So, I'd much rather see Canelo fight him. That to me is a much bigger fight and a far more intriguing matchup. But, you know, that's only my opinion. It may differ from everybody else's. But this is the fight I think is going to be the fight of the night. David Morrell versus Iman Katiev. Number 8 versus number 10. I think Ring Magazine, to be fair, has Katiev ranked way too high. But that's fine. But I mean, when you think about what he's literally done in his career, that's probably too high, man. you know, just being fair. Let's quickly take a look at what he's done in his career so far. Uh, Thoughts on Ricky Hatton making his comeback in December? The fight is for some sort of WBC secondary belt at 160. Complete joke. Ah, fuck. I don't care. I don't care. That shit to me is a waste of fucking time. His son is garbage and he was overrated. It's about time you just fucking hang him up, brother. But let's look at Kadyev. Like right now, Iman Kadyev, Australian-based Russian, is 10-0 with 9 KOs. I mean, 10-0, right? Sure, he's fighting Morrell, who hasn't had too many pro fights, only 12, 11-1. But obviously, the opponents he's been fighting are pretty high level. When you look at what this guy's done, he fought a guy in Junior Menendez, 11-0. His last fight was against Palicio, 14-3. Like, he's fought nobody. Like, nobody. Like, when you think about the level of opposition he's been in with, that's worse opposition than David Morrell fought in his first 10 fights. Here's Morrell, and you look at who he fought before he fought Berlanga, and his level of opposition is fucking way better. Way better opponents. I mean, Lennox Allen, undefeated. Alanis Fox, the Kazakhstanian fighter, was undefeated. Falco, 24-1-1. And then Kalejic at light heavyweight, 29-2. Solid fighter. Obviously, a little bit past his prime, but still, like, he's been fighting really high level opposition. So I expect him to be way too much for Kadyev, but I hope Kadyev surprises. Obviously, he was a guy that had a good amateur pedigree, 90-23, which is pretty impressive. He also fought in the IBA, which of course is the promotional company that's trying to put on the Bivol Better Bia fight. He fought who? Solid fighter, Arlen Lopez, right? Fighting Arlen Lopez in a 5 rounder IBA, that's probably easily the best opponent he's fought in his career. Arlen Lopez, I mean, is a fucking historical amateur fighter. Historical. What's his amateur pedigree? What? I mean, that's what he's done as an amateur. 171-28. So to fight that guy in a 5 rounder in the IBA, that shit's solid. That is easily his best professional fight. Lopez, for his point, I mean, what has he done in a pro boxing match? He currently is 4-2. And the guys he's fought, not bad. He's fighting Paul Valenzuela next. Solid opponent in his 5th fight, right? So, I mean, yeah, I think Kadyev could surprise us, but I would expect Morrell to be sensational. I never liked Morrell. He has some of the same arrogance that Benavidez has, but has done even less than Benavidez. Laugh out loud. Well, primarily that's because he's a PBC fighter, right? They were happy to give him that WBA regular title and just keep him fucking held back at that division and not try to do anything sensational, right? Until finally you used him for Benavidez at 175, right? And if I'm not mistaken, didn't he drop David in that fight? The second man in David's career to drop him. So, I think he's definitely going to be better after that fight. It's definitely going to be a learning experience for him. But let's move forward. There's also one other card that's happening this weekend out of California. And this is not bad. You got some good young fighters on this card. Of course, the biggest guy to pay attention to is Lester Martinez, the 168-pound fighter from Guatemala, who fights under Bud Crawford Promotions. Has the same trainer as Bud Bomac. Where are we? There we are. Currently, Lester Martinez, ranked number 12 by BoxRec, above William Skull, 19-0, 16 KOs. Exciting fighter, short, stocky, 5'11", 72-inch reach from Guatemala. Just had a sensational couple victories in his last two fights. Like, his opposition is way better than Kadiev, beating Joshua Jones, and then, of course, Carlos Gongoro, stopping those two guys. Well, going the distance with Jones, but I thought he was going to stop him in that fight. So far, he's done what he had to do. Now he's fighting this kid. I don't know who he is. Some French guy. But I expect him to knock that guy out. That guy's pretty short, and he's coming off of back-to-back losses in his last two fights. So I think the writing is on the wall for him. His time is coming to an end. You also have the Mongolian fighter, Erdenbat, right, who was a very high-level amateur as well. Let's see, where's that card? Lester Martinez, come here. Here he is, the Mongolian kid, 12-0, 6 KOs, exciting fighter. He's not a hard puncher, but he's a very aggressive, come forward type of dude. 28 years old, obviously a very good amateur pedigree as well. As an amateur, as a pro, he's done well. Now he's taking on Humberto Galindo. That's a good opponent, man. Galindo's a tough fighter. 14-3-3, 11 knockouts, some good power. What happened to Batayev? I said, what did I say in my build-up? I said I like him. Offensively, he's a very exciting fighter. Obviously, a gold medal Olympian. But in his last two fights, he's looked like fucking Amir Khan. His last two fights. So I said, don't be surprised to see him get knocked out in this fight. I hope he doesn't, but the guy's got no fucking chin. And that's what happened, man. He's got no chin. I don't know what they're doing to the kid, but he was coming up, fast tracking, looking good, never showed any chin problems against really good opposition in his career. And then 2 fights ago, he got dropped multiple times. His last fight, shit, man. He looked just as bad as he did in this fight. He looked like he barely could fucking keep going. The only difference is the ref let him keep going, whereas this time the ref was quick to jump in and stop it. Or did they throw the towel in? I think they threw the towel in this time. But his promoter was just sitting there going, but it's his fault. Because you've seen in the last 2 fights that his chin looked fucked. I thought he easily should be brought down to 126 pounds because he's not a big fighter. He looked way smaller in that ring. I think he should be fighting at 126, right? You shouldn't be putting him in at 130 because he doesn't put on weight like the opponents. He's got long arms, but yeah, man, he's fucking Amir Khan 2.0. Anthony Joshua, his chin is fucking glass, fragile. Is Shiraz's favorite and your favorite? Um, Hold on. Uh, I'm favoring fucking Berlanga. I think Berlanga's gonna knock him out. But I would prefer the Shiraz one. I like Shiraz. I mean, he was a exciting fighter until he got exposed in his last fight, and he also looks a bit chinny. So I think that's going to be exposed by Berlanga, who is a hard puncher. I heard that Liam Wilson and Zorbek, I believe his name is, have to fight an elimination to become Sugar Nunez's mandatory. Well, that's a good fight. Obviously, Liam Williams just had a big fight on the Paro undercard, and Zorbek is a quality guy as well. What's the ranking right now? Dalton Smith. Uh, yeah, okay. So Raymond Ford is number 4, but isn't he got something going already? So Sultan Zalbrak is number 3. Liam Wilson is number 5. So obviously they're fighting for that vacant spot at number 1. Of course, the IBF being the way they are, fucking has nobody at number 1 and nobody at number 2. Fucking dumbasses. And Hayato Tsutsumi is number 3 by the WBA. Ryato Tsutsumi's brother, who I just mentioned earlier. So he might face Jazza Dickens, who obviously just beat Batagayev to become the WBA regular champion. Charlie Suarez, he just got beat, but obviously we're talking about getting the rematch between him and Navarrete. And Oshaki Foster is going to be facing who? Not Raymond Ford. He's fighting what's his face, right? Coming up from 126. So yeah, if that's the scenario, Raymond Ford did duck Nunez, and it was the other way around, then they would have stripped Nunez. Zarbek looks like off Mortal Kombat's. I never really watched Mortal Kombat's too much. Mostly kids that in the group home I took care of, they would mostly play those games, not me. But overall, that card's not too bad. But yeah, it is what it is. Overall, this weekend we got one really good card, the all-female card, the female fight card of the century, and then of course this other card, which is not bad. I mean, if you got nothing else to do, obviously the time is going to be different, East Coast, West Coast, so it should all fall into place pretty fucking good, unless you're from the UK, and then it's going to be a long day. Louis Kamanga. Kamanga. I'll look him up. His hair's longer. Zobak don't have long hair, but okay. The Catterall Eubank fight was terrible. Well, I said I wasn't going to watch that because timing was terrible. Because obviously I have to stay up all night to watch that shit. If I would have known today was going to be a typhoon day and I didn't need to work, maybe I would have. But Yeah, today was easy. I took a long walk. It wasn't too bad, not too windy, not too rainy. Another typhoon day, so a 3 day weekend. Yes. Obviously, somewhere in Taiwan it was bad, but not here. Here it's never bad, so that's a small consolation, but obviously good for me. But there we go. There's the rankings right there for the Sultan Liam Wilson. So I guess I understand what you mean. Raymond Ford was number 4, so it looks like Raymond Ford ducked that fight. But then Raymond Ford's also ranked number 4 for Lamont Roach fight. He's also ranked number 4 for Shaki Foster, and he's also ranked number 5 for the Navarrete fight. So he just might be moving in a different direction. Obviously, he's right there to get a world title fight. My question is, I'm shocked and surprised it's taking him so long. What's he already had? 2 fights in this division, 2 at least, and unfortunately, yeah, we still haven't got him against any of the top opponents. Let's look at these rankings below. Bruce Carrington is right in position potentially to fight for the vacant title, Fulton, who's moving up. So we could expect Carrington to be fighting soon. I'm surprised he didn't go for the WBL route. I'd like to see Luis Neri versus Espinoza. That'll be a fun fight. I think Espinoza will destroy Neri. Argentinian fighter Mirko Crello versus Nick Ball. That could be a very good fight. Elijah Pierce is fighting sometime this weekend or sometime soon. Omar Trinidad, number 2 for the IBF. He'd be a good opponent for Angelo Leo as well. Good up and coming young fighter. When you look here, 1, 2, 3, 3 young fighters, man, at 126 pounds, all right there in position to potentially fight for world title fights. Exciting. Exciting and new. Do you think it's true Bivol is trying to age Beterbiev out? Well, let's put it this way. Beterbiev was open to unifying fights with Bivol a long time ago, and the fight wouldn't happen. It couldn't happen, right? Bivol was basically ducking him in his prime. Finally, the fight happened because Turkey fucking put big money on the table. He lost the first fight. Then they sped up for the rematch, even though he was coming off of foot surgery, right? And just in fucking this big, brutal fucking fight, they tried to speed him right back into a rematch. He ended up losing in the rematch, and now a fight that was talked about doing earlier was pushed to the fall, and now is being pushed to 2026. So you're going to make this old fighter wait a whole fucking year before getting back in the ring. The knee surgery, yeah. Uh, right? Like, what else could you say it is? Of course, they're trying to age him out because they realize that he's dangerous, right? So they're trying to make sure every advantage is to him. Why didn't they fucking give him opportunity and stretch out the second fight? Why'd they force him to fight Bivol so quick in the rematch? Because Bivol was never the guy Beterbiev was never the guy they wanted to win. Turkey and all those guys always wanted Bivol to win. So then there was pressure to even do the rematch right away. Beterbiev said that he didn't even really want to do the rematch right away. He would have preferred to take a longer time off, potentially fight somebody else before potentially doing the rematch with Bivol. But he manned up, was a man of his word, did what he had to do. He's a simple guy, right? He's not nearly as manipulative, I think, as a Bivol, right? And I mean, just look at Bivol's relationship with his wife and both of them, the way they went back and forth. I don't know why, because Beterbiev is more exciting. Yeah, but he's older, right? And then they're thinking about a possible fight between Bivol and David Benavidez and Bivol versus Canelo 2, the rematch. Bivol, they wanted to move up to cruiserweight to fight Jay Opataya, right? So Turkey always had plans for him, right? Never really had plans for Beterbiev. Don't ask me why. I mean, isn't Beterbiev the Muslim? Not Bivol. Well, it's not politics, Hard Recoil, because they could have done the fight already. Now the IBA, the Russian promoter, is going to do the fight in Russia, right? So that's only delaying shit even more. Bivol has a blueprint to beat Beterbiev. Yeah, that may be true, but the problem with any blueprint against a guy like Beterbiev is it only takes him one punch to land clean, something he's never done yet. 2 fights, 24 rounds, Beterbiev has not landed any fucking clean flush shots. He's only going to take one. Do you think Elijah Pierce will do anything at 126? Well, I don't know. He didn't do anything at 122. So I don't know what big expectations I have for him at 126. Obviously, the fighters are going to be bigger at that weight class. But don't get me wrong. I mean, we will see. Right now, the opportunity for him is there. It's just a matter of him doing it. WBA, right? Is that the WBA? WBA. You got Mirko, Carrington. Carrington is probably moving out if he becomes a champion. Kolmatov, who's trying to build up after obviously losing. And then Pierce is right there. So he's right in position for big fights. We will see if he's good enough. You could put him in with Kolmatov and Mirko, and those are great fights. Hardcore fans will be excited. Casuals, they don't know who any of those guys are. John Boxing, the boys, they're obviously just going to support Elijah Pierce because he's black, which is fine. You could support him because he's black, but that's not going to help him win the fight. He's going to have to be better. I like him, but the LDBC uses him on Inouye. They use him on Inouye, but what the fuck has he done at 122? Right? This is literally fucking nothing. The guy already got beat by fucking mid-tier fighters already, multiple times. To be fair, some of the punches he has landed on Bivol usually hurt lesser fighters. Yeah, but still, he hasn't landed any clean shots. Maybe the move up will improve his chin. Bivol isn't an even fighting until 2026 versus Beterbiev, so why drop belt and duck Benavidez? Well, there's not ducking Benavidez. The question is, why did the WBC push for something when they knew what was going on? It's politics. But of course, Victor, you're going to fucking ignore that. Like, the reality of the situation is nobody knew that things would work out the way they did. We all figured that the Benavidez fight, because Turkey is behind it and big money was guaranteed, would happen. Now, because of the way things are going, things are falling in the way they're falling in. But whatever. I mean, what's Benavidez doing now? Exactly what Turkey fucking wanted him to do. Literally fight fucking Smith or Yard on a big undercard to put himself in position for an undisputed fight. So why did he fucking walk away from that only to crawl back on his fucking hands and knees? Right? But you're not going to say that because we know you're all fucking narrative driven. I hope Fury doesn't get another opportunity at Usyk. He should fight AJ or Dubois after Usyk beats him again. Well, I think the AJ Fury fight is a more intriguing matchup, right? Benavidez can't catch a break, not at 168. What do you mean he can't catch a break? He purposely fucking went away from the break. He was offered a break. He was going to fight on the undercard of Bivol Beterbiev against Smith, guaranteeing him a fucking undisputed unification fight. He chose to turn that down only to come crawling back because the PBC got no money, no fight dates, no opponents. But we said that. I said that. Go look at my fight, my back and forth with fucking, what's his face, from Australia. I told him that's exactly the problem. You went away from fucking the person that had all the money, all the fights. All to do what? Crawl back on your fucking hands and knees. Avoided. Fuck off, avoided. Isn't the guy Lester Martinez fighting pretty good? He is pretty good. Chicano U-turn. What's up, my brother? The guy went deep into a fight with Beck the Bully. Salute. Alonzo, amazing. Right? This is the problem with guys like Victor and others, right? They're so fucking narrative driven. You know, they can't give Bivol any credit. None. Right? Trying to fucking dick ride fucking David. But what has David done in comparison to fucking Bivol? Bivol beat Canelo Alvarez, beat Zerto Ramirez, beat Beterbiev. His fucking legacy is defined, right? If he beats fucking Benavidez, That doesn't mean anything. That's just another fucking one. For Benavidez, he hasn't beat anyone. Nobody. You can say he beat this guy, that could, but on that level, nobody. Never beat any pound for pound fighters. That's what Bivol did. Pound for pound, pound for pound, pound for pound. Benavidez needs to use other people to build his name up, because the way his career's been run by by Al Heyman and the PBC, they fucking threw him on Protection Island. They'd rather him win a fucking email title than take on a fucking top level opponent on a fucking Turki Al Sheikh card, guaranteeing him an undisputed unification fight. Only to do what? Now come crawling back. Maybe because they're too scared of Zerto. I don't believe Yard is going to beat Benavidez. Yard has looked pretty average in his last couple of fights. David, styles make fights. Anthony Yard's not fucking stoked against those dudes. He's going to be fucking primed and ready to go. And we've seen him against legitimate light heavyweights. That's why I'm so surprised Bivol would drop his belt, but I guess you can't disappoint Turki. What do you mean? Why are you going to fucking... You got a plan in place. Why? It's not about dropping a belt. He don't need that fucking belt. He already won it, right? If the WBC wants to play political games and David wants to hop on that bandwagon, good fucking luck. It's like I said, good. You got an email title. Now what are you going to do? You got fucking 0 fucking opponents to fight. Congratulations. How long did it take him to come running back to Turki Al Sheikh to go to Saudi Arabia to make a fight? Not fucking very long. A few months. A few months. Morel Win may age well. No, Morel Win will age well. I think that's easily the best win on his resume. Benavidez's resume is more stacked than GG, who you dick ride. He's only 28. It's only going to get better. Well, unless he gets knocked the fuck out against Yard. And then it's not going to fucking do anything. That's going to be the end. We'll probably never have to fucking see him again. And all the fucking fanboys that jumping on his dick now, who are just Canelo haters, will fucking jump off that fucking train fucking fast. Jump off that train fast. Like we know they will. You think Yard is going to beat Benavidez? He easily could. Who has Benavidez fought that hits as hard as Anthony Yard? Who's he fought that's as big as Anthony Yard? Who's he fought that's as experienced as Anthony Yard? Who's he fought that's fucking a legitimate knockout artist at 175 pounds? He hasn't done anything at 175 except go the distance in 2 fights. Yard by round 6, big muscles, will be screaming for oxygen. Benavidez steps on the gas and grabs the 9th. Referee stoppage. Morale cracks. Morale cracks at 168 against minimal fucking opponents. Never fought a top 10 opponent in his career. Was a WBA regular champion fighting WBA regular opponents. It's stupid to run down GG and praise Benavidez at the same time. GG helped Benavidez come up. Yeah, but these dudes are fucking dumbasses. You know, they're following the John Boxing fucking IQ. Like, he doesn't really like Benavidez. When Benavidez gets knocked out by Yard or somebody else, he ain't going to fucking ever talk about Benavidez again, except to shit on him. I believe Benavidez bust up Yard. He could. But that'll be the best win of his career, easily. I love how these dudes always ignore that no one gave GG a shot. The man was literally brought to America at the age of 28, and he was avoided by all, like the Black Plague. Yeah. Every single champion ducked him. John Boxing made videos praising guys to duck him. Said, don't fight him. Why waste your time? He ain't a big draw. And now with the David Benavidez, complete different fucking narrative, right? And David Benavidez didn't have unified titles. He didn't get blatantly ducked by Canelo Alvarez, who got stripped by his title. Yard has those Frank Martin muscles that tire you out. Yeah, could, but he's also much more experienced now. Like, you say that when he got knocked out, obviously late by Kovalev, right? He fought fucking Beterbiev great. Go back and watch that fight. That fight was a great fucking fight. Yard is going to tire out, I believe. Yeah, but that's what you guys are hoping for. That's the only way you think fucking David can win, is if Anthony Yard tires out. If Anthony Yard doesn't tire out, then what's your solution? Yet you sat here, Sean, I can find the stream, and you said Benavides was avoiding Morrell. He was avoiding Morrell. He literally ducked a Morrell fight, which his trainer said was fucking next. To have his father and him both come out and be hypocrites, contradict fucking the manager, to go fucking do what? Not fight Morrell. They went on to fight two good fighters. So at the time, I wasn't wrong, but I mean, I also was honest and said, okay, you can't really hate on David for not fighting Morrell if he's going to fight fucking Plant and then face Demetrius Andrade. Two good opponents, the best opponents of his career, all in 2024. I praised him because I said, finally, in 2024, he finally fucking did something. He finally stepped up and took on two good opponents. But he fought fucking Plant after Canelo already fucking beat Plant. Plant, who was an undefeated world champion. But Canelo gets no credit. I'm surprised John the Mutant hasn't showed up. He's around like the plague. Morrell looked kind of bad against Hot Rod. Then Benavides fought him. Exactly. Because fucking it was his first fight at 175. He's fucking used to being the bigger guy against smaller guys at 168. Now you move up to 175. Also, fucking Kalagis is a legitimate opponent. He's not a winner, but he's an opponent. Yes, and Plant just lost to a simpleton. Well, that doesn't matter. I remember when you were saying Benavides was ducking Morrell. Didn't we just have this conversation? He did duck him. His manager said that fight was happening. And then literally Benavides came out and his father and contradicted the manager. And then they completely went in a different direction, ducking Morrell. And this is after he blatantly ducked Plant. So why don't you mention that? He ducked Plant. But you won't say that. You won't say he ducked Plant. He ducked Plant. His manager came out and said, oh, why do we have to fight Plant now? We could wait a few years and the fight will be worth $10 million. It wasn't worth $10 million, but okay. That win didn't age well for either Benavides or Canelo. Not surprising. Callum Smith priced himself out. Why don't you talk about that, Sean? What do you want me to talk about? Why does Callum Smith? I told you. See, once again, Victor, you never fucking listen. I told you that he'd be lucky if he was part of the PBC with his email title, if Anthony Yarde or Callum Smith would even waste their time on him. Why would they fucking go fight him in America on a PBC fucking card? Why? They wouldn't. That's why David Benavides is going to fucking Saudi Arabia. Because neither of those fucking UK fighters is going to go to America to be the B-side to a fucking mediocre fucking guy who's never done shit and has worse resumes than both of them. They got paid more money staying in fucking the UK and fighting fucking on Turki Al Sheikh's cards. Callum Smith is already an interim fucking champion for the WBO. He's guaranteed a fight with Bivol Beterbiev. And he's fucking wants fair money. He doesn't want to be the B-side to David Benavides on a fucking pay-per-view card in the fucking PBC. Neither does Anthony Yarde. That's why David Benavides is fucking taking the fight in Saudi Arabia. I'm glad Benavides is fighting at 175, but a part of me wishes he stayed at 175. I think Iglesias would have stayed at 168. Benavides a hard fight and maybe beat him. Yeah, but that's because you're a fanboy for fucking these kind of obscure fighters. I have to see Lester Martinez win some more fights, but he's good also. At this point, anything is an opinion. Maybe he would have beat David Benavides, but probably not. Benavides is more experienced and obviously a guy that's been at the weight division longer, done more. Iglesias is a German fucking Cuban who hasn't done anything. But some of those guys I mentioned will eventually move up. Yarde is Kovalev leftover, but it's still a good fight. Well, he's also Beterbiev's leftover, and that was a great fight between him and Beterbiev. Bivol aging Beterbiev out to duck the Mexican monster is some nasty work. Listen to you. You guys are such fucking cap artists, man. Literally. cat artists. All I have to say is that fucking both Better BF and Bivol's careers are way better than fucking Benavides. And when Benavides gets knocked fucking clean out by Anthony Yard, you guys are all going to jump off that fucking train because none of you are David Benavides fans. You just fucking haters and trolls. A lot of good points are being made in the comments. Actually, no good points, just fucking speculation and fucking narratives. JSB talking about Blue Ball Sports TV. Who is JSB? You are adamant about Benavides getting beat by Yard. Well, you're adamant that fucking Iglesias would be fucking Benavides. Iglesias, who hasn't fought any top 10 competition yet. I don't even know who that is. Bivol's resume is great, but it could have been greater if he had Benavides on it. Or a trilogy fight with Better BF, who's a way more fucking accomplished fucking light heavyweight. Right? It's still a better opponent than fucking Benavides. Iglesias is signed to H Money Promotions. Why are people simping so much for Mexican Monster? Because he's PBC or Mexican on American or just to shit on others? Just to shit on others, Hard Recoil. They're not fucking real fans of him. These dudes are fucking just trolls that are looking for fucking narratives to push. I'm not the biggest fan of David Benavides, but I think he's going to beat Yard bad. He could, and it'd be the best win of his resume. I ain't got nothing like blue balls. I went back and forth on who I think is better between Pacheco and Lester Martinez. I actually think Martinez is better the more I think about it. See, once again, you fucking got the worst fucking takes ever, David. The worst fucking takes ever. Jesus Christ. Lester Martinez hasn't fought anybody yet. But this short dude already is better than fucking Pacheco. Oh my God, man. Get a grip. Come on, dude. Like, you just got one bad take after another. I mean, you got these trolls on here, like Victor and fucking John Sean, and then you with your fucking terrible takes. Like, holy fuck, people. Like, let's talk about the real fights that are actually happening this weekend, right? As opposed to fantasy matchups and bullshit narratives. I mean, David Benavides is fighting Anthony Yard. Congratulations. It's a great fucking opponent. Great opponent. If he goes in there and torches Anthony Yard, I'll be like, great win. Career defining. Let's fucking get a Bivol fucking Benavides matchup. Right? Right away. Then Billy looked really good the other night. He did. He looked great. That was a great stoppage, man. Great combination. Great way to get the guy out of there. Selecki's no bum, right? Just like Floyd Schofield's win. Who could have imagined Floyd Schofield getting Tevin Farmer out in one round? Better BF's an ancient money. Bivol gains nothing from beating him again. Listen to you. Even though he's a guy that was an undisputed light heavyweight champion and has done more than David Benavides has. David Benavides' best win is a fucking guy that Better BF knocked out and sent into retirement. Benavides' best win is a guy that came out of retirement, and he still couldn't stop him. I swear I hope Benavides keeps winning, so we stick it to you. Yeah. How are you sticking it to me? If he keeps winning, then I'll fucking praise him. The point is, at this point of his career, what the fuck has he done? Very little. He lost his titles because he's a fucking moron. Typical PBC fighter, right? Typical PBC fighter. You think Mbili could beat Pacheco? I think anybody could beat anyone, right? Like, you know, everybody has a chance. But I would favor Pacheco to beat Mbili. Or Martinez, for that matter. I think Mbili fucking beats Martinez. I think he stops him inside 8 rounds. I like Martinez, but let's be fucking real. The dude hasn't fucking fought anyone. Let's let him get some fights in first. People get too excited and jump on bandwagons way too quick. Pacheco hasn't been that impressive lately. What do you mean? Didn't he just knock out his last opponent? Pacheco, 23-0, 18 KOs. The kid's 24. Only 24. Oh, yeah, he fucking destroyed Selecki in 6. I mean, Billy just beat him. Beat fucking Steven Nelson convincingly. I felt he beat the guy easily. And now he's fighting Trevor McCumbee, who's going to knock out fucking super quick, right? I agree. He arguably lost that Nelson fight. No, he didn't. Come on, David. Man, what fight were you watching? He did not lose to fucking Nelson. Nelson's a tough fucking old dude that hits hard. But he was not even close to winning that fight. Come on. Like, people love to twist narratives. Like, it wasn't a fucking split decision, majority decision. He won all 3 cards, 117, 111. 117, 111 is not arguably fucking losing. It's fucking easily fucking winning. Jesus Christ. He looked bad in the last rounds. Okay. But he still won easily. So instead of winning 120 to 108, nah, he didn't lose to Nelson. No, he fucking won that fight easily. And people were literally talking about how Nelson was going to knock him out. He struggled with a bum. Speaking of bums, here's fucking Mr. Mirage. Got back from fucking vagrant kangaroos hopping in his fucking backyard, all to come here and troll. Like, yeah, it was a tough fight. That's exactly why you fight a guy like him, to get tough fight and good rounds, because the kid's 24 years old. Who was David Benavidez fighting when he was 24 years old? Nobody. Bum-ass opponents. Dude didn't fight anyone until 2024. Callum ducked Benavidez. No, he didn't. I told you. Why would Callum Smith go to America to fight on a fucking PBC card? Who's David fucking Benavidez? He's no superstar. He's no A-side. Guy's never fucking done a successful pay-per-view in his fucking life. Callum Smith is a huge fucking name in the UK, far bigger than Benavidez is in the US. No one gives 2 fucks about David Benavidez. Let's be real. Why would Callum Smith go to the fucking US to make less money to be fucking the B-side on a fucking shit PBC card? Get real. I told you, when David walked away from that Saudi Arabian fucking offer of $8 million, who walked away from that deal? Fucking Benavidez. $8 million he was offered. Who walked away? David Benavidez. Did you say Benavidez ducked him? Of course you didn't. You justified it and talked out your ass. So please, save me fucking the bullshit. Well, we'd love to see him spit some truth. Darrell was a bum. He was always a bum. What's Darrell's best win? Literally. Come on. Is one of the bigger names in boxing. Yeah, they were saying how Nelson was going to school him because he's trained by the best trainer in boxing, Bomac. Exactly. And is part of fucking Bud Crawford's camp. Callum fought in the prelims last UK fight. Laugh out loud. Callum Smith isn't that popular here. He could totally fucking sell out a big venue in fucking Liverpool, fucking do 50,000 people, put it on pay-per-view in the UK, stop the cap. Callum is the ultimate A-side now. Cheers, Jay. Sean's staring in my vid soon. Starring in my vid soon. Look at this guy. Starring in your vids. So maybe you should talk about boxing instead of fucking talking about me. Maybe that's your first fucking mistake. But the problem with you is you're all over social media pushing one fucking boxer. It's kind of pathetic, dude. Kind of fucking pathetic. We have real boxing on this weekend. Bomac has a nervous breakdown every time the McRib goes away. There's a lot of hypocrisy to expose there. Expose where? Oh my god. These dudes. You can't imagine how many fucking trolls are all over fucking boxing. Oh, Mirage, stop. Do you just come to troll people? Is that your fucking life? Like, what a sad, pathetic individual you must be if that's your life. Trolling all over the internet. Dude, man. Don't get mad at Mirage doing exactly what you do. Make videos on other creators. I'm talking boxing. I don't know what Mirage is talking about. I never watched his channel, so I have no idea. Once again, we're talking about real boxing that happened this weekend, and you guys are talking about, I'm not sure. Callum Smith ducking David Benavidez, even though who walked away from an $8 million guaranteed contract from Saudi Arabia? That was David Benavidez. His own manager fucking told you they didn't take the fight worth $8 million. And now they came crawling back to Turki Al-Sheikh, hands fucking on knees, begging for a fucking Saudi fight. I'll never fight in Saudi. I'm a Vegas fighter. I'll never fight in Saudi. I'm not going to take a knee to anyone. Turki, please, 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 let me hold your hand. I need a payday. Al Heyman got no money, no fights. Please, dude. Do you think Matias is going to lose to Puello? I missed the first half of your live. I think the big difference here that people need to pay attention to is the fact that this fight is not an IBF sanctioned fight. So there's not 10-pound maximum fucking thing you could do, right? So I think he's going to come in and be far stronger in this fight than we've seen him in other fights, right? And I think that's the difference. I do think Puello could beat him. Puello obviously beat Gary Russell, which was a great win for him. And Gary Russell is a similar fighter, obviously, to Matias. But I'm kind of leaning towards Matias. I think him draining himself those last few fights in the IBF really changed his style. If you watch his earlier fights and his volume and his aggressiveness, and then you watch his last few fights, right, you could see there was a big difference. He looked far more tired, had far less punch output, wasn't the same explosive fighter he had been early on in his career. I think in this fight with Puello, we're going to see the same old killer, Subriel Matias. And I think those body shots are going to be too much for Puello. So look for the stoppage in that fight. Smith walked away from the PBC offer. See, but once again, Jay, why don't you mention the fact that Benavidez walked away from $8 million Turkey offer? Like, we understand why Smith's not going to the PBC. Why would he go to America to make less than $8 million? Like, obviously, he was offered less money to go to America to fight Benavidez on the PBC than he was offered to fight in Saudi Arabia. So, of course, he would be like, why would I do that? Sean actually a bigger troll than me. Well, that's not true. I'm not all over everybody's channel fucking pushing one fighter. David Benavidez! David Benavidez! I'm talking boxing. If other channels fucking don't have the intellect to actually talk about the sport of boxing and just would rather troll or dick ride fucking Tank Davis or Devin Haney, which is what most of the American channels do, that's not my fault. Actually, I'm not even involved in those conversations because it's boring as fuck. I don't need to talk about David Benavidez, Tank Davis, and Devin Haney every single fucking fight. I don't need to do that. I'm a boxing channel, so I talk about boxing. We talked about the women's fight card that was happening today on Netflix, right? We talked about all the big fights this weekend. We don't need to focus on just 2 or 3 fighters. I believe people are overrating Puello because he beat Gary Russell, was beating his ass, then quit fighting in the second half of the fight. Smith missed out on the Benavidez payday. See, John, you're just the same as those guys. What do you mean he missed out? He's going to get a fucking Bivol or Better BF unification payday in Saudi Arabia. So what did he miss out on? The thing that will serve Puello well, though, is he is a big guy at 140. Yeah, but I think that's what's going to benefit Matias because he doesn't have to do that IBF shit, so he's going to be way better. But yeah, Mirage, there you are. Nobody gives a crap about women's boxing, but that's because you're a fucking casual. That fight card is the biggest fight in women's boxing history. If for no other reason, that's why you should talk about it. And Serrano Taylor, both fights have been great fights, right? So you could assume that the third fight is going to be great as well. But if you want to be a fucking ignorant prick, that's fine. That's up to you. Smith's next fight is going to be against a nobody in Liverpool. Benavides and Yard are getting a turkey payday. Listen to you, Jay. He is the mandatory for the winner of Bivol and Better BF. If they don't fight him, he becomes the WBO champion. And then every fight he takes next is going to be a unification fight. And he's worked with Turkey. His promoter's working with Turkey. He's going to get big money. Women card on Netflix is a good combo. It is, right? The only problem I said about that whole fight is that Clarissa Shields isn't on it. She should be. But the reason she's not on it is because of her. Why is boxing bringing back Ricky Hatton, Paulie Malignaggi, and Pacquiao? Not enough star power in the sport makes sense with Jake Paul now ranked. Well, that's because the majority of boxing fans are casual, like Jay Cool and Mirage and fucking many of the people in this chat right now, right? They'd rather just dick ride fucking one fighter and not pay attention to the sport of boxing. I'm a Pacquiao fan, but I will fucking tell you every single time that it's bullshit that Pacquiao is getting a world title fight against Mario Barros. And as far as Paulie Malignaggi and Ricky Hatton, who gives a fuck? I mean, Paulie's fighting not like real boxing match, and Ricky Hatton, who cares? Benavides payday, laughed my ass out. That's a first. Exactly. Who's ever gotten a David Benavides payday? How much money did Morrell get for a David Benavides payday? Maybe $1 million? Whoa, congratulations. I mean, let's be honest. I'm just curious, so let's Google it. What's boxer Callum Smith's net worth? They say his net worth is approximately $5 or $6 million right now. 5 or 6. What's David Benavides' net worth? 1 million is nothing to scoff at. You'll be living lavish in Taiwan if you got that amount of money. I couldn't even buy a fucking house in Taiwan for that amount of money. So I don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, you need to travel the world more because you are ignorant. The house I live in right now, which is an old fucking townhouse with 4 houses together, would cost me fucking almost $1 million. Not quite. It probably cost me $800,000, right? But then I'd have to put the rest of that money into renovations because the fucking house is old, needs to be gutted. Electricity, plumbing, fucking everything needs to be changed. So yeah, $1 million doesn't go anywhere in Taiwan. Sorry. People in Taiwan got a lot of money, but some people too ignorant to know better. I remember John Boxing said I lived in a third world country. Stupid fucker. You live in America. America is way more third world country than fucking Taiwan. Guaranteed. Sean, pocket watching is crazy. I'm not pocket watching, but you're talking about people ducking money and things of that nature. I'm just trying to show you in context. Callum Smith made millions of dollars already. He knows his worth. He knows what he was offered to fight Benavides in Saudi Arabia. He obviously already negotiated that contract with Turki Al Sheikh. So he knows what he was going to get. and then he knows what he was being offered from the PBC. So, but you guys are so stupid. You'll still push that narrative, even though Benavidez' team admitted to walking away from $8 million, a career high payday, because they don't want to fight in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, what are they going to do now? They're going to go to Saudi Arabia and fight. But yeah, everyone else is ducking, right? You guys are exposed because you're so fucking fixated on this bullshit. I don't care. I said that Benavidez going to Saudi Arabia fighting Yard is a great fight. I don't need to demean and downplay fucking Smith, because Yard is a great opponent for fucking David Benavidez. Benavidez ain't scared to cross the street. Well, he was scared to cross the street up until he noticed that the PBC had no money. Morrell was in Minnesota fighting in the armory that was smaller than a high school basketball gym. Exactly. PBC fighter. They swore Benavidez didn't eat turkey, but here we are. Exactly. What wild animals in Taiwan, Sean? They all been eaten. No wild animals. I'm rooting for Yard, UK, of course, but Benavidez is going to stop him late. He could. He's only crossing because Daddy Al is out of money. Exactly. You say Yard is a great opponent, but after Benavidez wins, you'll just downplay and dismiss it. No, see, that's where you're fucking proving yourself. Right? Unlike you, I'm fucking completely honest. I said the Morrell fight was a great win for him. But I also said that, to be fair, Morrell is kind of like Frank Martin. You're fighting two fighters with big upside that people think could be good fighters, but they've never proven they're good fighters yet. Neither have fought a top 10 opponent. So you fought them at the right time. And those wins will probably go on to age very well for Tank Davis and for David Benavidez. But, yeah, Anthony Yard, unlike Morrell, already been in big fights. Formosa black bears. No fucking leopards, but yes, black bears. But you'll never see a black bear in Taiwan. Not even in the zoo. Maybe in the zoo, but probably not. Probably more Canadian black bears in the zoo in Taiwan. Benavidez has already beat Yard. But what does that mean? David Benavidez gets full credit for beating fucking Caleb Plant. Canelo Alvarez already beat fucking Caleb Plant. Morrell, Plant, Yard, solid wins for DB. There's no denying that. Yeah, no one's saying. They're all good wins. But if we're going to give him praise for beating Plant, then you got to give Canelo praise for beating Plant as well. Sean will say Yard is a blown-up bodybuilder who was washed up. Kovalev better be at fights. No, that's not me. That's what John Boxing will say if somebody he doesn't like is fighting Anthony Yard. That's probably what he said after Beterbiev knocked out Anthony Yard. Do you ever miss Canada, Sean? I love Canada, but with the way the country's going now, I'm probably happy I'm here, because I would fucking not get along with people in Canada because they're so stupid. It's like being American talking to Democrats. You can't have a conversation because they're fucking stupid. And that's probably the majority of my family and friends. I don't know why they're fucking so enamored by the liberals, thinking they're going to get something for free. They've never gotten anything for free. Literally, your whole fucking lives, you're all fucking 40 and over. You've never gotten anything free from Canada. So why do you think you're going to get something free now? If you're a fucking Muslim immigrant, you're going to get something for free. But you? No, nothing. You're going to pay more taxes and get less. That's what you're getting. Congratulations. Try buying a house. Try fucking having a good life in Canada. You ain't going to do it. Right? I can't afford to pay fucking rent in Canada, even if I was still working my job for the government. Because of how much money you get taxed, I'm going to be living fucking in a house with other people when I'm like 56 years old, 57. Benavidez, Sean John, you sure are scared to cross when it came to unifying 168. The man took 5 years to fight Plant, who was his side of the street. Exactly. Nobody talks about that because these dudes are fucking mental. You and Sean are different sides of the same coin. What he said is fucking totally true. David Benavidez and his team literally fucking ducked Caleb Plant, who was the same fucking side of the street. That fight should have been done. Right? Should have been done. Why wasn't it done? Because fucking his team fucked it up. Waited too long, priced themselves out, do what the PBC always did. Make people wait fucking 5, 6, 7, 8 years for a fight. PBC shit do that. Why did we wait 5 years for fucking Spence and fucking Bud Crawford? PBC. Why did we wait 8 years for fucking Manny and Floyd? PBC. But you're going to fucking ignore it. Okay, ignore it. That's fine. You don't need to fucking be a part of reality. You can live fucking in delusional land and go hang out in Mirage's channel, where every day is David Benavidez fucking fuckfest. Good luck with that. Some of the fans here always communicate like a spoiled woman, always crying, complaining. Fucking, because they're trolls, man. They're not boxing fans. I don't think anybody takes this seriously. The YTBC is purely entertainment. Well, that's the problem. We're talking boxing. We could have real fucking conversations about the sport we love, as opposed to push stupid narratives, which can be fucking exposed in 10 seconds. I think 175 is full of guys that have already been beaten by Beterbiev and Bivol. Yeah, for the most part. But Smith, Yard, Buatsi, 3 fucking great fighters. And then you had Beterbiev and fucking Bivol, and now you add Morrell, and you have David Benavidez. You have 7 top-level dudes. You could fucking have any of them match up, and you're getting great fights. What's the issue? What's not to like? Like, I don't care who fights who. You could put all 7 dudes in a hat, pick out names, and get them to fight each other. That would be fucking great. That's what a boxing fan wants. I'm not saying David Benavidez shouldn't get a fight against anyone. My thing was, why are you walking away from Turki Al-Sheikh, who offered you $8 million, and you have all the fights on that side of the street? You go to the PBC, talk about fucking being a Vegas fighter, and that gets exposed really quick. Now you come fucking crawling back to Turki Al-Sheikh, who you'll never fucking fight in Saudi Arabia. But you're fighting in Saudi Arabia. How did that fucking age? But these guys are going to come on my channel and act like I'm hating on David Benavidez, whereas their whole narratives just got fucking exposed. Just got fucking exposed. And they barely can give David Benavidez credit for fighting Anthony Yard. They're literally looking for reasons to shit on Anthony Yard and downplay him and talk about Callum Smith. Why aren't you focusing on the guy he's fighting and praising him for taking on a legitimate fucking opponent? These dudes, man, they're the worst thing for a fighter, because once they start fucking supporting a guy, fuck, man, that's it. That's it. Yeah, well, it's true for him, Stinger from Above. It's true for him. There are certain channels that are specifically about boxing. This isn't one of them. What are you talking about? This is strictly about boxing. So far, all I've talked about was boxing until you trolls came on and started talking about Callum Smith ducking David Benavidez. But before that, all we were talking about is the 3 fight cards this weekend. All we're talking about boxing. And then we were talking about potential fights that are happening, mandatory fights that are happening. Literally, we're talking about boxing. You guys doing the same shit you always do. That's right, Stringer from Above, shaking his head and pointing at you. Fucking saying, clowns. Not taken seriously. Haha, some of these people wish people died in car fires over boxing opinions. Facts. Canelo waited 1 year to fight a pound-for-pound great in Golovkin, while Benavidez waited 5 years to fight Caleb Plant, who already got stopped by Canelo. Benavidez still couldn't stop him. Let that sink in. And it's nothing against Benavidez. You can give Benavidez credit for beating Caleb Plant. But the point is, he should have fought Caleb Plant for unification. Canelo Alvarez should have moved to 168, and David Benavidez should have been a unified champion at that point. Not stripped because he fucking was too fat and lost his title on the scale, or got stripped of his title because he's fucking snorting cocaine. And then fucking start crying because, oh, you know, he's not getting opportunities he deserves. Well, what do you mean he deserves? What does he deserve? You deserve what you fucking make. And unfortunately, it took him 2024 before he literally stepped up and started fighting top-level opponents. One of whom got knocked out by Canelo, one of whom never beat a world champion in his whole career. Plant got away with illegal clinching. Oh my God, who gives a fuck? Devin Haney gets away with fucking illegal clinching all the time. How come you're not moaning about that? I hope Andy Cruz and Muratala fight. Well, isn't that the? You didn't watch my video? You see that new big card that's coming on, right? Obviously, the November card. Devin Haney versus Norman, right? Benavides versus fucking Yard. Who else is going to be on that card? They're talking about Andy Cruz Muratala. They were talking about the UK fighter and Abdullah Mason, right? And some other people got mentioned as well. Off the top of my head, I forget. But some other good fights have already been talked about being on that card already. So that card for November looks like it's going to be fucking jacked, man. Packed out with quality fucking fights. Do you give Joet Gonzalez a good shot to beat Brandon Figueroa? See, David only talks about boxing. See, all you other guys who come here fucking clout chasing, David always fucking just pushing, bad takes, but at least his bad takes are boxing. And he's talking about all kinds of fights that are being made, mandatory opponents, legitimate boxing conversation. But you guys have nothing to say when boxing conversation is happening, unless you're going to fucking clout chase and fucking support Mirage. I mean, that says it all. But I think Joet Gonzalez has a good chance against Figueroa. Figueroa right now might be mentally broken after fucking getting beat so convincingly by what's his face, right, in the rematch. Illegal clinching, really, Sean? You got Andre Ward on your profile pic. Exactly. He only cares about illegal clinching when it's the fighter that he doesn't like doing it. But when it's the fighter he likes doing it, he's going to defend it. These dudes, ridiculous. And I don't like too much fucking clinching. But then you better be pointing fingers at fucking Devin Haney. Figueroa has kill look terrible, Figueroa has looked terrible lately. Someone kill. What's the kill in there? Has looked terrible lately. That's true. And Joet Gonzalez, didn't he just have a fantastic win recently? Right? I'm pretty sure he just got a big win not that long ago. Oh, David Benavides' net worth is $3 million. $3 million. So he's worth less than Callum Smith. Imagine that. Imagine that. It's just ironic. Not that I care, because all of them got more money than me. Congratulations to all of them. I'm glad when boxers are getting paid money. But he gave up $8 million, which is almost 3 times his net worth. Net worth from Google isn't accurate at all. Of course, you're going to say that unless you use it to shit on a fighter. I'm using it across the board with both fighters, comparing 2 fighters and their net worth there. So are you going to say, oh, one, it should be lower and one should be higher? I'm sure that's what you're going to say. If it's not fucking legitimate, it's not legitimate for both fucking guys. So there you are. Brandon losing to Magadalana guy, also to the body. I don't know how Kilwer got in there. Disqualified himself. I don't look at fighters' net worth. No, but you're going to come here and talk about Callum Smith ducking David Benavides. Whereas we know David Benavides walked away from $8 million to duck Callum Smith because his whole own team fucking admitted it. Nalo has horses worth more than David Benavides. That's true. That rematch with Fierro and Cruz will be good. Yeah, but who cares? The fact that I got to fucking stomach Manny Pacquiao fucking fighting Barrios, I barely could fucking deal with that. Being a Manny Pacquiao fan, it fucking disgusts me that he's put in that position. Anyway, that fight should never have happened. And then fucking Tim Tszyu versus fucking Funduro. Oh, my God. This is just what's wrong with the PBC, right? That's why they'd be happy to fucking bring Ricky Hatton back and have him fight Paulie Malignaggi in the rematch of fucking Charlo versus fucking Caleb Plant, right? You know, they'd love to do all those horseshit fucking old fighters that casual fans actually know who they are because they're casual. They only know fighters that were relevant 10 years ago. They don't know anybody today because they're casual and they listen to people like fucking the LDBC. Did you see where Gary Russell is making his comeback? Once again, who gives a fuck? This dude hasn't been fucking relevant since he got beat by fucking Magdaleno. Or sorry, by the Filipino guy. What's his name? Right? And that was 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Do you have a date for Naui and MJ? It's September 19th, I think, but don't quote me. Breaking news, John Boxing has dropped a new video saying Team Canelo needs to be investigated. Of course he is. He's so confident that fucking David Benavidez, Bud Crawford is going to win. But, you know, he's fucking then going to continue to push this shit. Like, exposing his fucking insecurity. Dude's fucking insecure. He fucking will cry and come up with Glovegate 2.0 if fucking Canelo beats fucking Bud Crawford. Sad, but true. I wish we could have Funduro versus Zayas Magsayo. He's also fighting in the prelims. Again, who gives a fuck? Right? These dudes fucking make fights that aren't relevant. That's what they do. They'd rather make you wait 4 or 5 years, age a fight out, ruin it, and then fucking give it to you 5 years later after both fighters become fucking irrelevant, beaten. Dude, Funduro could have fought Zayas, Ramos, Merzaliev. Could have fought fucking Bud Crawford. He's been obsessed with Canelo lately, just getting excuses ready. Well, that's it. All he's doing is getting his fucking excuses ready. Talking about how, you know, Canelo's going to lose. Canelo's going to lose. And then talking about how Bud Crawford is coming up 3 weight divisions. Oh, my God. He wasn't capping like this when Mikey Garcia went up from 135 to 147. Like, people are like, if this was a non-black fighter doing it, you wouldn't have a problem with it. What do you mean? Mikey Garcia wasn't a black fighter. I had a problem with it. When Rigo went up, I wasn't pushing that. They were pushing that. When fucking Kell Brook went up, I wasn't pushing that. It was supposed to be fucking Eubank. There's no excuses needed. It's a mismatch bullshit fight. It's not a mismatch bullshit fight. Stop the cap. At 154, Crawford had been ducked by Funduro and Charlo. I mean, do you favor Canelo because it's at 168? Of course. But are you so ignorant and stupid as far as boxing goes that you can't legitimately see how Bud Crawford could do the exact same thing to Canelo Alvarez that fucking Dimitri Bivol just did? His reach is just as long as Dimitri Bivol. If his feet are like they were before, he's got better feet than Dimitri Bivol. He could easily fucking throw more volume, land his jab, control distance, and just realize all Canelo's going to do is try to counter and throw fucking big body shots. Just don't be there for the body shots. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. Do that for 12 rounds. Guess what? You won easily. Canelo is beatable. I said that from day one that the fight was made. Does that mean that Bud Crawford's legs are going to be like they were before? Maybe not. He's 38. Does it mean if he gets hit to the body, he's going to be able to take it like Bivol, who's obviously a 175 fighter? Maybe not, right? He might end up becoming just like Charlo. I favor Canelo due to inactivity, age, and how he's putting extra weight for this fight, which is stupid for an aging fighter. Yeah, like that's my thing. I don't think you need to put on too much weight. Be comfortable, strong, right? But still quick and agile with good legs. He needs good legs, not to run around the ring, but to fucking control the distance. The same as Bivol did. Bivol didn't run. Bud is going to sleep, period, and I can't wait. If he does, he does. Then it's a great win for Canelo Alvarez. right? If Bud Crawford wins, it's a better win for Bud Crawford, right? He becomes a 3-weight undisputed champion. Legacy. Going to be talked about as one of the top 5 fighters of all time after that, if he does it, right? Especially if he retires unbeaten afterwards. Then, unlike Roy Jones, who stayed in the ring too long, Sugar Ray Robinson, who stayed in the ring too long, Muhammad Ali, who stayed in the ring too long, he could get in, get out, make his big payday, and fucking, slide off into immortality. See, unlike John Boxing, I can give Bud Crawford praise. And I can see how both guys can win the fight because they're both great. I'm not trying to dismiss and downplay one over the other because unlike most of these dudes, I ain't a hater, I ain't a fanboy. Mike Saya could be in some good fights if he wasn't involved with the PBC. Unfortunately, he is, though. Well, wasn't one of his last fights on fucking, what do you call it? It will make Floyd win over Canelo look that much greater. No, because Floyd fucking pulled Canelo down in weight. Bud Crawford's doing the opposite. He's literally going up in weight, proving that he don't fucking need that advantage. He don't need a weight drain fucking weakened Canelo. Tank is also very beatable. Does that mean pound for pound number 1 Inoue should jump up to 135 and fight him? No, it's a mismatched fight. I'm not the one that pushed for Bud Crawford to fight Canelo Alvarez. So don't use that logic with me. Use that logic with people that acted like this was a fight that needed to happen. I'm just being honest with the fight now. The people that pushed for this fight were Bud Crawford, right? If you didn't mind Mikey Garcia going up to fight Spence, if you didn't mind Rigo going up to fight fucking Lomachenko, if you didn't mind fucking Brooke going up to fight Golovkin, then you shouldn't mind fucking Canelo Alvarez going up to fight fucking Canelo. Or sorry, Bud Crawford going up to fight Canelo. Is it the fight I prefer? No. I said I prefer Bud Crawford to stay at 154 and become undisputed in that weight division. But he's making his own call. Has nothing to fucking do with me. But the difference between him and Inoue is Inoue has a fucking historical fucking pound for pound fight at 122. What historical fight does Bud Crawford have at 154? Who? Leave in the comments who you think is a similar fight to Junta Nakatani. Junta Nakatani and Inoue, the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. Japanese boxing history, 2 pound for pound top 10 fighters. Primed, both of them. Who does Bud Crawford have at 154 like that? I know who you're going to say, but that shit ain't even fucking close to be comparable. I can't stand Sean Gibbons, dude. Me neither. Bud called out Canelo, not the other way around. Exactly. Canelo fucking downplayed the fight, said, doesn't make sense. I don't win by taking this fight, which is true. Same thing I said about Spence. Same thing I said about Golovkin. Same thing I said about Lomachenko. They don't win from winning those fights. Canelo came off of a beating, elite trout for Floyd, while Bud getting a version of Canelo who lost the skull. Well, no, Canelo beat Skull, but Stringer from above, or a silly Waldo, whatever your fucking name is. Once again, you just expose yourself. Bud Crawford is going for greatness. Floyd Mayweather picked a young kid, dragged him down in weight after his first big fight of his career, a fight versus Austin Trout, a unification fight. That was his first legitimate opponent. This is a very different version of both guys. I really got to put Pitbull Cruz side after he arguably beat Tank. Then he acted like he was too good to fight anyone. Well, I don't think he beat Tank, but he obviously gave Tank a good fight. You gave the fight. Skull makes sense. Coming from a Haney fan. Run, run, run. Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. The gingerbread man. That's what Devin Haney and William Skull were singing the whole fight? Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. Bud could have passed the torch to Boots. See, passed the torch. What do you mean passed the torch? Who passed the torch to fucking Bud? Why does he need to Pass the torch to Boots. Boots could have fucking stayed at 154, tried to get Norman. Or he can go to 154 now and fucking beat Fonduro, Tim Tszyu, Murtazaliev, fucking the Puerto Rican kid, and Ramos, and fucking make a name for himself in the second division. Earn it. Do what you got to do. Become undisputed by beating the other champions. What do you mean? Pass the torch. You're right about all your points on Crawford asking for the fight, but that doesn't make it any less of a mismatched fight. People are acting like this is a legacy fight for Canelo. It is a legacy fight. 25 years from now, all people are going to see is that Canelo beat Bud Crawford. Undefeated, 4-weight world champion, 2-time undisputed. That's all they're going to see. No difference when fucking Sugar Ray Robinson beat fucking Hammer and Hank Armstrong. No difference than when Jack Johnson beat fucking Stanley Ketchel, the middleweight champion, who went up to heavyweight to challenge himself against the great Galveston Giant, right? No one was going, oh no, it's unfair. He's too big. I don't want to give him compliments. I don't want to praise Canelo if he wins. No. No one was moaning and groaning when Usyk fought a fucking 6'9" Tyson Fury who weighed 50 pounds more than him. No, they still don't want to give him credit. Oh, no. Bud Crawford, pound for pound number 1. Okay. I feel like the guy who deserves the Crawford fight the most is Boots. Why? What do you deserve? Boots could have fought Crawford for the WBO title. He ducked to go fucking the IBF route. Fucking himself because then he had to deal with the IBF fucking weight issues. So what do you mean he deserves? Deserves. This is the same kind of stuff people say about Benavidez deserves. What does he deserve? He lost his title twice. He could have been in position, but he lost it. What does he deserve? He don't deserve shit. Earn what you fucking want to get. Skull is not in the Dreams League. Virgil is faking a hand injury. What do you mean faking? Come on, stop the cap. Virgil showed that he's fucking he will fight everybody. This is funny because we all know if Tank fought Inoue, you would be crying and complaining, saying Tank doesn't deserve any credit for beating him. See, once again, I never fucking said Bud Crawford needs to fight Canelo. So you pushing this so-called racial fucking double standard. There is no racial double standard because I never fucking said Crawford needed to fight Canelo. Never said it. Still not saying it. Just like I don't say Inoue needs to fight Tank Davis. Maybe Tank Davis needs Inoue because if he doesn't fight Inoue, he's going to fight Jake fucking Paul. But Inoue got fucking a historical fight against Junto Nakatani. Why does he need fucking Tank Davis? Psh, fuck Tank Davis. He don't need him. He fighting MJ on a fucking big card. Then he's going to fucking fight in Turkey on a big card, getting paid big money from Saudi Arabia. Then in early 2026, he's going to fight Junto for the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. Nothing in Tank Davis's career, legacy-wise, is ever going to come close to Inoue Junto Nakatani in Japan. Nothing. Inoue versus Tank would be a better fight. Oh my God. Inoue's at 122, so you have to go to 126. 130, 135. Legitimately, you have to jump up 3 weight divisions. He's already been through 5 weight divisions. So to fight Tank Davis, he'd have to go up 8 weight divisions. Bud Crawford is going up 6 against a guy who's went up 47, 54, 60, 68, 75. 5 divisions. Tank Davis went up 2 divisions. 2. Jay's acting at the LDBC 30-44. Yeah, these dudes are fucking mental. Like, you're the ones talking about this. I'm not bringing up fucking Canelo Alvarez fucking Bud Crawford fight. I see how both guys can win. I'm a rational, reasonable boxing fan. I'm not trying to push some fucking fake narrative outrage like fucking John Boxing and the rest of you. If Inui called for the fight versus Tank at 135, I wouldn't have an issue at all. I think he was stupid, just like people think Bud Crawford is stupid. Jay is acting, yes, acting. That's what it is. Fake outrage. Fake outrage. Meanwhile, Jay is one of these guys on YouTube that literally fucking said Inui needs to fight fucking Tank Davis. Remember 78 said? 78 said, I'll never praise Inui until he goes up to 135 and fights Tank Davis. So you're never going to give Tank Davis praise until he goes up to fucking 160 to fight fucking somebody? Like, these dudes are so full of shit. Imagine fucking Tank Davis, right? 130, 135, 140, 147 Boots Ennis. 4 weight divisions, that's all. Not even close to what Bud Crawford has went up or what Inui has went up. The outrage fucking already with that conversation. People are outraged about him fighting Ryan Garcia at 140. Oh no, that would be unfair. No. John Boxing made literally a million videos justifying weight training Ryan Garcia back down to basically 135 pounds. Like, if you can't fight at the weight class a guy's a champion, then don't fucking call him out. Don't fight him. And then just fight guys in your weight class. Because I ain't telling anyone to move up in weight. I ain't forcing dudes to move up. I ain't saying Tank Davis need to move to 140. No, fight Shakur. He's at 135. The difference is Tank is already undersized at 135. Canelo was rehydrating to 170 when he was at 154. There's no difference between fucking Canelo and Tank. Both short, stocky, undersized fighters. Both giving up fucking height and reach to every opponent they face. No difference. The majority of guys that fucking Canelo fought at 160 and 154, taller and longer than him. Right? The only exception was Floyd, who was the same height as him and had longer reach still, but obviously wasn't as thick. Like, come on. There's no difference between Tank Davis and Canelo. Of course, John jumps in. You claim that you're talking boxing, but yet you're talking about me and other black guys. What are you talking about, John? We are talking boxing. Literally, that's what we're doing. What other black guys? You mean black boxers? Of course we're going to talk about black boxers. We're talking about boxing. See, we have one guy here capping for you, trying to fucking say that, oh, people would be outraged if Inui was fighting Tank Davis as a way to discredit Canelo fighting Bud Crawford. But nobody told Bud Crawford to go to 168. You never saw one video from me forcing Bud Crawford to ever move up. I always said I wanted to stay at 154, but it's his career. He's going to do what he wants to do, right? John is in no position to be critical of Canelo because he wasn't critical of Errol Spence fighting Mikey Garcia. His defense was Mikey Garcia was trying to be great. Well, that's it. Bud Crawford is trying to be great. No difference. You can't praise fucking Errol Spence and then display and downplay fucking Canelo just because you're afraid the fighter you like is going to lose. Like, that's the only reason John is fucking upset and making videos, because he's afraid Bud Crawford's going to lose. If he was confident Bud Crawford was going to win, he wouldn't be making these videos. He wouldn't need to. He'd stand on his square, fucking pound his chest like a real one, and fucking talk about how Bud Crawford's going to win. But he'd rather fucking talk about PEDs and fucking how someone's too big and too small. Yeah, come on. Look at the victim. Well, you knew he's going to roll in. I don't know about what other people are saying. I'm here for the card this weekend. Well, John, we already talked about that card. I'm not the one bringing this conversation is. You can go look at the chat and see people just love to troll. And they're trying to prove that I have a double standard. There's no double standard. I was talking about boxing today. They talked about how Callum Smith was ducking David Benavidez. as opposed to giving David Benavidez credit for facing Anthony Yard. And now they're trying to shit on Canelo for fighting Bud Crawford because it's a mismatch. Well, then you should probably talk to Bud Crawford about asking for the fight, because he's the one that pushed for the fight, not Canelo. We know how that fight went down. Turkey and Bud Crawford pushing hard for that fight. Canelo saying, no, doesn't make sense. It's a lose-lose fight for me. But obviously at a certain point, he decided to go with it, and he went with it. He was extremely confident that Fulton was going to school Inoue. Yes, he was. And he learned from that. Now he's no longer ever going to be overly confident because he saw how that unfolds. That played out really well. So much so that when he got exposed, what he had to do, he had to shut my channel down. Not for hating, not for fucking racial fucking stuff, but for pointing out his lies and double standard. Sean, I heard Lily is putting 3 racks on Bud. I don't think you should get off the sofa to put any money on anyone. Lily, are you going for Bud Crawford or Canelo Alvarez? Which one? Wiggle your ear if it's Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford? No, looks like Canelo. She's going for Canelo. As I said, I mean, I still see ways both guys can win. I think I have more confidence in Bud Crawford than John does. Depending on his legs, that is. All I know is I'm excited. We're getting great fights. This weekend's card is great. You get the women's card on Netflix. As I said, I'm not a big women's boxing fan, but this is the biggest fight card in women's boxing history, right? It's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest all-women's boxing fight card. Headlined by Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. I know John ain't going to like that because he thinks fucking Krista Shields is the GOAT and she should be headlining women's boxing. But the sad truth is she could have been on this card. She's the one that lets her ego get in the way of it, which is a shame because she should be on the card. I didn't leave one comment about Bud nor Canelo. I came to hear about this weekend's card. That's it. Yeah, John, were you here from the beginning? Because that's all we talked about until the trolls jumped on. What do you want to hear about this weekend's boxing card? Ask a question, right? Since we already went over it, because we've been on for 2 hours already, so obviously that time has come and went. If you have a specific question, maybe that's what you do in the comment section. Ask a specific question, and I will tell you my opinion or anything else that I can. Nello has way more boxing miles on him and a bum knee. Well, that's true. He does have a lot more hard fights and a lot more fights and a lot more rounds, even though Bud Crawford's older in age. But Crawford got those skinny legs, right? That's why I want to see what his legs look like on fight night, how much weight he puts on. If he puts on too much weight, I think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a good thing. He should come in, obviously, stronger, like me. Right, John? Look at this. Muscle. Come on, John. You even lift? You even lift, John? You even lift? You even lift? But, yeah, you still didn't ask a question, so I don't know what I can say or how I can respond. Stringer from above is like a snake. He goes to these black channels and acts like a total different person than he does here. But Jay, why are you trying to stir up shit? Literally, we got tons of guys that come on John's channel. All they do is fucking say terrible shit about me on John's channel. Right, John? And then they come on this channel and John sees them. And then they're very amicable and behaved and well-behaved and friendly. But then on John's channel, they're stirring shit, trying to be controversial, trying to get beef between me and John. So you're one to talk because I see that shit. I see the comments, people that are on my channel being friendly to me, then say on John's channel, being hateful, talking about how they're going to clone my channel and, you know, fucking go around cloning me on social media, on YouTube. I barely go to KO86 channel anymore. Well, there's no point going in his channel. All he's going to talk about is fucking Tank Davis, literally fucking every fucking day. I mean, LWC only talk about Devin Haney. He only talks about Tank Davis. Like these dudes are boring as fuck. It's the same old shit all the time. You go to Fan and Boxing, and he literally is full of shit. You should go there, John. See him hating on Bud Crawford, talking about how Bud's under investigation. He's always doing that, under investigation. The dude's so full of shit. It's constant lies, lies, man. Ego, terrible. Dante, terrible. I can't even stomach most of those guys. I watch John because, I have I don't know, an affinity to John. Even if I disagree with him, I don't mind disagreeing with people. But, you know, I know when it comes down to it, John's not a bad guy. Those guys fucking are the worst ever. Scumbags. Terrible individuals. Not nice people. When I say that, I should put my Trump wig on, but, it is what it is. Well, BDA spent a whole life disrespecting Bud. I don't know. I haven't seen a BDA fucking video in God knows how long. Usually I don't watch lives because I'm not interested in sitting down on a live when people talk for 3 or 4 hours. And generally it's not even boxing related. It's all kinds of off on tangents and people arguing, and you can't even listen to what people are saying, right? It's mostly back and forth, a lot of crazy shit. But John, you don't need to go to BDA's channel to watch people disrespect Bud Crawford. I mean, half of the black boxing channels on YouTube spent 5 years disrespecting Bud Crawford when they were fucking dick riding Errol Spence. Do you forget? You forget that? That's your people disrespecting Bud Crawford. You don't need to go to a Canadian guy's channel to try to find someone who's disrespecting one of your own. You just need to look fucking in your own backyard, brother. Look in your own backyard. That's all you got to do. When I defend him, you still give me no credit, so it doesn't matter. I might as well just shit on him, right? Because when I defend him, I don't really like him. So I might as well just shit all over him. Top Rank Toby. Remember they used to call him that? I remember that. Do you remember that, John? Top Rank Toby. Like, how fucking disrespectful is that coming from another brother? Just because he's working with Top Rank and not fucking the PBC. Top Rank led him to fucking 3 division weight titles, undisputed in one, got him fucking, tons of cash, guaranteed money, guaranteed fights every year. They did him well. It's unfortunate the Manny Pacquiao fight fell through and was never able to be done, but, that's the way shit goes. Not everything always works out. Lots of times it works out like this. Near the end of your career, the big money fights fall into your lap. So congratulations, Bud Crawford. You're making your coin now. I noticed a pattern about Tank. I heard Tank wants to fight Hitchens. Fight Hitchens. Fucking who wants that fight? Fighting guys either who don't punch or coming up in weight. Well, Hitchens, is he going to pull him down in weight, try to do what he did to Ryan Garcia? I want to see John then have the same narrative for Hitchens. You're going to keep the same energy, John, about draining Hitchens because we don't want him to have the advantage. They used to say he was a slave to Massa Bob. That's like the same thing fucking LDBC said about fucking AJ to fucking Eddie Hearn, right? These dudes always pushing racial fucking shit against other brothers. Hitchens and Tank would be an interesting fight, though. I don't want to see that shit. Fuck that. If you want to have Tank Davis fight a boxer, fight fucking Shakur Stevenson. Shakur is a unification fight. WBA, WBC. 2 pound for pound fighters. Have those 2 fucking brothers fight each other. That's the legacy fight for both of them. Because at this point, Tank Davis's legacy is better than fucking Shakur. Because people duck in Shakur. They don't like him stylistically. But Shakur's resume at this point is fucking garbage. How come you don't criticize Shakur's resume, John? Because who's the best win on his resume? He's won like 2 fucking vacant titles and then 2 legitimate titles at 130. Literally everything good he's done has been at 130. So far at 126 and 135, it's slim pickings. That's why he needs the Tank Davis fight. That is the fucking fight right there. If he beats Tank, to become unified champion, pound for pound, top five. Pound for pound, top five. Like I said, either dudes who can't crack or moving up in weight. Shakur's resume is going to be good after he beats Zepeda. No, it won't. How's he going to be good after he beats Zepeda? Zepeda never been a world champion. So how's it good? He beat a top contender. That's like Tank Davis beating Frank Martin. It's a good fight. It's a good contender. But, I mean, come on. How excited can you be? It's not a fucking world champion. It's not a unified world champion. It's not a guy who made tons of defenses of his world title. It's not a guy with a great resume in the division. It's a top contender. Frank Martin's win is the same, or Tank Davis' win versus Frank Martin is the same as fucking Shakur beating Zepeda. Quality wins against top 10 opposition. Something Morrell hasn't done in his career. I think Joe Gonzalez would beat a lot of guys on Tank's resume. Joe Gonzalez, in hindsight, has turned into a very good win for Shakur Stevenson, right? But has Joe Gonzalez ever been considered a champion? Still not yet, right? So still not a champion, even though he's a great contender who's been a contender again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Yes, I mean, obviously a very good opponent. But still, when you think of his resumes, you got who? Conciao is now a champion, but a robbery victory over fucking O'Shaquie Foster. Then, of course, Valdez. I mean, Valdez, who's, was he great? That's the best win on Shakur's resume. And then, of course, you got Jamal Herring. That's it. Those are the three champions that Shakur beat. I mean, and I ain't hating on Shakur. I'm just saying, unfortunately for him, he's not getting the fights he needs to get. He needs that Tank Davis fight. That's his legacy fight, right? He beat him, and then potentially you could fight the winner of Muratalla, Andy Cruz, Abdullah Mason. See, Abdullah's still young, so I don't even feel like I need to put him in the conversation for a unification fight versus Tank or Shakur. But the reality is he potentially is going to do what Tank Davis wouldn't do, right? Become a champion and fight an elite competition, unlike Tank, who ducked the Lomachenko fight. No, if Gonzalez beats Figueroa, that win will age better. I think Tank's resume is probably a little better, but not by much. No, Tank's resume is much better. He's got way more world champions. It's just unfortunate 5 or 6 of them he pulled up in weight or pulled down in weight, right? Like 5 or 6. It's not one time he did it. Remember, John, when you hated on Lomachenko for facing Mariaga, who was a replacement opponent for Salido, because he was pulling him up in weight as a replacement opponent. But yet you never give Tank Davis any problem for pulling guys up in weight. And he's fought 5 or 6 guys pulling up in weight and guys coming down in weight. 5 or 6, not one. Like, this is consistent. The Barrosh win was good. Well, it ages good now, right? Obviously, Petraza win was good. The Leo Santa Cruz fight doesn't age well because Leo didn't do fucking anything after the fight. He retired after getting knocked out. So, what? He never did anything at 130, and then he got knocked out and never did anything at 130. So, it's not the best win. It's just like you beat an old fucking guy who did a lot before you fought him. Remember when you tried snitching on me to Reggie Owens' channel for being a racist? All because I said Shields and Reese are not attractive females. See, that's also fucking, I don't understand this stupidity. If you say a woman is ugly, that's your opinion. John Boxing in this channel constantly is saying that fucking Caitlin Clark is ugly. That's fine. She's ugly. I ain't disagreeing. But don't say fucking Clarissa Shields is good looking, because she ain't good looking. Well, Pitbull Cruz won a vacant belt and Barrosh beat Ugas. Big deal. No, I agree. He might be on the decline, though. He's always crying about his hands. Who, Shakur? Oh no, Shakur is fucked, man. Like he's gonna have Floyd Mayweather type of hand issues. That's why I said the best thing he can do is go to fucking Vegas and only fight in Vegas. Get that Zolocane fucking in his fists, like Floyd did, right? Because that's the only state you can do it. Like if he was smart, he would literally fucking only fight in Vegas. He could Zolocane his hands, and he could extend his career. You heard that Leo's dad died? I did. Yes, that was disappointing. They had a great relationship, right? You know, I respect Leo. Obviously, a loving son, a good family man, and his dad seemed like a cool dude with his cowboy boots and his cowboy hat. It's sad, obviously. I don't think Shakur. I don't like Shakur either, but a lot of guys have avoided him. Yeah, lots of guys avoided him because stylistically, right? He's not easy. That's why I give Zepeda credit. Zepeda deserves credit, right? Zepeda is taking on probably one of the most difficult dudes in boxing to fight. Doesn't mean Shakur is the best, but stylistically, he might be one of the most difficult fighters out there to beat. People can say that means he's the best. Maybe, I don't know. I just think stylistically, you're never going to be a fucking fan favorite if that's the way you fight. Right, Lily? What are you upset about? Get your big belly out of here. You. Yeah, you. Get out of here. What do you want? Uh, my issue was that they're going on here acting a certain way. Then you see you on a black channels talking like you're part of the LDBC. Well, lots of dudes fucking do that. The dudes on John's channel, I told you. They come here and they're cool, respectful, very nice. They not too rude or ignorant. And then the first thing they do is go to John's channel and then they fucking say shit about me. Right, Lily? Lily fucking can vouch for it. Right? Yeah. See, she's laughing because some of the shit they say. Nah, nah, nah. You specifically mentioned me hating on black females just because I don't find them attractive. And you don't need to find them attractive. I know you find black females attractive, right? Yes, Lily likes the black males. Even though Roxy was a female, maybe she's got a little bi in her, but that's okay. You can be a little bi, Lily. This is 2025. It's all good in the hood. I know about the guy Elijah Pierce is fighting. Who's Elijah Pierce fighting? I know John going to be making a video about that soon. He's really excited to use Elijah Pierce to shit on fucking Anui. I'm sure that's the direction because you can't just hype up a dude. You need to use him to shit on someone else, right, John? I went there and saw you acting pro-black, so I exposed you for being a fraud. Well, you can be pro-black and not like the sisters. I don't find black women attractive. Laugh out loud. Yeah, you don't have to find black women attractive. Some people don't find Asian women attractive. Some people don't find white women attractive. I remember when Elijah almost got knocked out by that one dude. He came roaring back, though, so credit where it's due. I meant Reese and Shields, though. There's definitely some gorgeous black females. Well, that's what I was thinking you're saying. Certain girls just not attractive, right? But there's lots of sisters that are nice. Who's the one? The South African sister? Tyler. Tyler's fucking fine. Mm-mm. Even though Tyler's not black. Don't get upset, John. She's colored. I leave that out there because I know John will fucking react. But you just need to do some research, John. She's not black. She's colored. And I'll leave it out there. Resonating in the universe. Because I know I ain't stepping on toes. But Tyler's sexy as fuck. She's sexy as fuck. Little booty shake. Woo! Tyler's nice. You went there trying to snitch like a 3044. Well, a lot of people snitches, man. I don't get that. In my workplace, right? We got some Caribbean people. Man, they love to fucking snitch like fucking crazy. And I don't get that shit. because you snitching makes you look fucking bad too, especially when you do it all the fucking time. If you do it once, people will take it and they'll think, okay, you got a real issue, we'll deal with it. But if you snitching fucking all the time about this and that, you become the problem, right? The squeaky wheel, man. You tell them, right? I worked at this school for 15 years. You know how many times I snitched on one of my coworkers? Fucking zero. Why would I fucking build an environment of hostility? I might be angry and pissed off, and then I'll fucking tell people directly. And then the next day I fucking get over it. The girl that sat beside me, we had a fucking blowout one day because some days you're just not in the fucking mood. And then the next day it was fucking smooth like butter. It ain't a big deal. It's nothing personal. But I'm working with kids. Sometimes my fucking nerves are fucking frayed. You come in and someone's fucking la 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 la, and you're just like, well, you just shut the fuck up, man. But it's that behavior. Like literally, we teach kids, and I tell my kids, don't be fucking snitching to me. I can see, I can hear. If there's something to talk about, I will say something. I don't need you running to teacher all the time trying to rat out your friends. Like, is Lily your friend? So you want Lily to get in trouble? No. So then why are you running to me snitching on her? You talk with your friend. Deal with your shit. Don't be snitching. Don't be a fucking rat. Right? John knows how that is, being a rat. Snitches get stitches. Obviously, John never did fucking jail time. Otherwise, he never would have done that because that shit's low. I never did jail time, but I know you never fucking rat people out. You don't snitch. That shit's fucking, that's just low class, man. Shields' upper body is way more manly looking for my taste. Well, it's like the tennis player. What's her face? Great tennis player, best tennis player of all time. But I wouldn't fuck her. She ain't my style. I don't need no big girl that's fucking bigger than me, taller than me, thicker than me, heavier than me. Taller than me, I don't mind. If they're long legs and sexy ass and, fine. But if they're like just big, like a fucking linebacker, man, that shit ain't attractive to me. I know some brothers, they like the big booty girls. You look at the South African girls I work with, you never saw booties fucking like that before in your life. I guarantee it. Big, big. You can't even put that shit on a scooter. It's so big. But some brothers love that. I'm sure some non-brothers love it too. But for me, no. I don't dig that. I like a girl with a nice tight frame, a nice small, compact, but shapely ass, nice long legs, good muscle tone, flat stomach, the little fucking dimples in the back. That shit's yummy. Yummy. Serena Williams looks like she has a vicious left hook. Oh no. She's a fucking machine, that girl. She's a machine, that's for sure. That's why easily you look at her and you know she's the best tennis player of all time. Because none of the girls she played with could generate the power she has. Even her sister, who was obviously far different, tall and lean. But I can respect a person, but it doesn't mean I find them attractive. There's some women that are attractive. Some women just aren't. But of course, that's down to each individual. Everyone's got their own taste. We know John loves a Latin woman. I love an Asian woman. Lily loves a black woman or man. She's chasing after all the black dogs. Don't ask me why. It's preference. Just like boxing styles. Some fighters you prefer, right? I prefer Bud to fucking Canelo. I prefer Inui to Tank. I prefer fucking better BF to Bivol. I prefer AJ to fucking Fury. Preference. But John still didn't ask a question. That's what makes me laugh. John, you came here, you talked about, you wanted to talk about the first fight card, and literally you didn't fucking say a word. Didn't say a word. Never brought shit up, never mentioned it, never talked about anything. Oh no, I gotta add this. There. There you go. There's the fight card right there. Shakur over Zepeda. Matias over Puello. Morel over Katiev. Alcala versus over Huff. Riyad Tatsumi over Rodriguez. And Berlanga over Hamza Shiraz. That's my predictions for this weekend's boxing. I definitely think that's going to happen. Where is that Ryota Tatsumi fight? Let's check this shit out. Tatsumi. He's my favorite up-and-coming young fighter. He is the Japanese Lomachenko. Shakur. There we go. Where's Tatsumi? He's fighting this Israel Rodriguez dude. Tatsumi 1-0, 22 years old, 5'5", beat a guy who was 1-2-1. But this Whittington kid, he fought well. Hats off to him, even though his record looks shit. That guy came. Now he's fighting this guy who's 3-3, one knockout, knocked out once, 26 years old, truly blessed. 5'9" with a 68-inch reach. Already got many fights scheduled. Okay. Obviously for Tatsumi, it's early in his career, but I think he's great. I'm excited to see what he does moving forward. But thanks everyone for jumping in. Obviously today was my day off. We had a typhoon in Taiwan, so Monday was a holiday here. But tomorrow I'm back to work, so it's time to prepare emotionally, mentally for the animals. So wish me luck. I will see you guys this weekend. Obviously, we got fight cards on Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday your time. The women's cards on Netflix. That shit should be dynamite. Even Lily's excited. She does like the bitches. See you next time. Peace out. Have a good one.